So you've heard of coding apps such as Lovable, and there's a few other ones being advertised at the moment where they claim that you can build apps just by giving them a few prompts, and then they build all the app on their own infrastructure and try and get that laid out basically how you do it. And the way they work is you start typing in what you want, they start feeding you a UI, they give you a database in the back end, and it all sets up on their system. So they use their own proprietary database tool, whatever that is, and their own proprietary front end. And essentially you pay for prompts. So every prompt you give costs you credits in the system, and those credits are purchased with your credit card to give those credits. And now those systems have numerous limitations. Firstly being obviously that they can't fix every nuance within the app. They are they'll give you a prototype, a working prototype, and that's about it really. If you want to be real about things. They lock you into their system because they keep you tied down to whatever database it is that they are using, and their front-end hosting locks you down to their front-end hosting because it locks you down to whatever it is that they're using. So instead, I'm all about vibe coding because vibe coding is like straightforward, using ChatGPT, pull everything together using JavaScript or TypeScript and a Postgre SQL database. All right, so this is what I've done pretty quickly. I've pulled together in the space of under 3 weeks effectively a full bridal studio management app. My partner works for a bridal studio and they need software to help them manage their business. So I pulled this together and effectively it's a full end-to-end management app, including workforce management. So what we've got here, you can see here in the front is the dashboard. Looks for overdue tasks, anything unassigned, anything due in 48 hours. We've got tasks that are assigned to your work, and then you've got scheduled work blocks, which are work blocks of the tasks, and we'll go that into the workforce planning. You can view the upcoming fittings, any orders that are at risk of not being completed yet, and down the bottom here you'll see we have scheduled versus capacity. So this is where we come into capacity planning, which is important for any kind of production environment or any project environment. You need to know how much capacity you've got available to do work and what's being taken up doing what. So that's the dashboard real quickly. You can come in here and you can create customers. You can add a customer, you can view customers, you can see their details, you can see what their upcoming fittings are, what the completed past fittings are, what past orders they have. Basically, essentially a CRM system. You come in here and you've got the orders. All right, so this is an order for a hem of a wedding dress. Just made that up just because I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to sewing, but I know a little bit about software, so this is where we're at. Right, so the order details, you can come through, it's got the customer details, the financials, how much has been quoted, what the deposit is, whether or not the deposit has been paid, what the workload is in total, and the workload is drawn from the number of tasks you have and how many estimated hours there are for those total number of tasks. You can see all the sizing information here in the middle, and that is pulled from the fittings. Inside each of the fittings, you have the fitting details, when it's scheduled for, the notes, all the body measurements and everything. So you can go back there, you can go back, and you can delete them, add them, edit them. And as you update those fittings information, what it does is it updates that with the latest fitting information. So whenever the latest fitting data comes through, that comes through here, combined up. And then down here, you can compare your fittings and go, okay, yep, on fitting 3, we only measured the height. On first fitting, we measured all these measurements. So you can see where all that fitting data comes from specifically. Cool, all right. Tasks, do some stuff. All right, so you can assign it. You can do to do, doing, blocked, done, cancelled, add notes, estimate how many hours. You can schedule work blocks, which is assigning your work to staff and that particular work for whatever it is that they need to do, and assign it to time schedules as well. And that'll take off how many hours you need in order to complete that overall task estimate. Okay, cool. Come down to fittings. You can see when the upcoming fittings are, any past fittings, in scheduling. You've got your tasks here on the left. You can see how many estimated hours do they take, how many hours have been allocated in the calendar for those, and any remaining hours requiring to be put into the calendar. Down here you can see schedule versus capacity. So on what days, how much capacity have I got? So Tuesday, I've got 8.8 hours capacity. I've used 0 of that. I've got 0 allocated. Wednesday, I've got 16.8 hours. and I've got 6 hours allocated of capacity there. And the capacity comes from two things: it comes from your staff, and it comes from workforce planning. So staff, you can have part-timers, owners, which are set up differently, and people that are working in the organisation. You can go into the owner, you can see their availability, what their production capacity is, what days are available, how many hours, what percentage base they're allocating their time against: production, BAU, sales, training, buffer, anything else in there. All this is like stock standard workforce planning stuff that every software should have, but most often doesn't. We can tell you when people are having time off, and that takes into account their overall capacity. So when you're looking at capacity scheduling across your business, you can see when people are having time off, and that reduces the capacity during that period of time. And then you can go in here and see what work they've been allocated. All right, so now we can go into workforce planning. We can come down here and we can see that over the course of this month, from the 5th of January until the 1st of February, we can see that this is how much time people have available, how much leave they're on, what net available, what productive available they are, what days or hours they've been scheduled, and what remaining hours they've got scheduled that can be used to schedule and work for them. You can see a day-by-day production planning, so you can come down here and go, okay, I've got 6 hours scheduled on Wednesday the 7th. I can see who's scheduled on, how many hours I've got available. I can start allocating some more information to that. All right, and then from here, obviously, we've covered pretty much everything in a quick flash. All right, it's real quick. And basically, it comes down to the fact that you want to be able to manage your workforce. You want to see your incoming orders. You want to see what's coming through, what needs to be worked on, what hours need to be allocated, what tasks need to be done, who's going to do them, and when they're going to do it, and whether or not they have capacity to do it, whether you're overscheduling your stuff and you are ending up accidentally overworking them, in which case you need to reallocate some work across your business and where you're doing things. Obviously, each day can show the scheduled and productive capacity, and then it changes color to red when you're over capacity. In other words, you've allocated too much work and you are going to overwork your team, which isn't necessarily a good thing. All right, cool. That about completes our run through. All right, thanks, team.